Hi, thank you. Congratulations, Shirin and Amy, for your book releases. And thank you for the reading. They were lovely, and I can't wait to get my hands on both of those books. The question that I have is, you're both editors and authors, and I was wondering if either of you try to put your editor's hat on when reading your own work, maybe for a first pass or something like that. And if you do, what your tactics are for that.
I'm laughing because the first time I read through Girl on a Motorcycle, I had to like resist getting a pencil and editing it. There were things that I wanted to change and make better. So I just, yeah, that's the editor in me. Like, it's like, it's hard to write when you're editing. Yeah, I mean, sometimes so much that I don't do it because I want it to be perfect immediately in the first pass, and it never is, and it never will be, and it shouldn't be. So that's what makes it challenging. You have to really shut that voice out and allow yourself to write and know that you'll come back to it and make it better.
I actually and write the way that everyone tells you not to write. I always have my editor's hat on. I can't switch it off. It doesn't actually bother me that much when I'm writing that I can't switch it off. It really bothers me when I can't switch it off when I'm reading. I think that's the biggest thing lost to this career, is that to sit down and read for pleasure now and not pick up the typos and not go, oh, no, that's a little bit awkward, that should have come back. I'm having a hard time doing that. But writing, I've just accepted that it's the way I write. And I read, I am in no way comparing myself to this author, but I read something that Jhumpa Lahiri wrote about how she writes. Might have been Zadie Smith, actually. And she claims to be a polisher. So she'll like lay down a bit of track, and then she'll go back and polish and polish and polish and polish, and then lay down a bit of track, and that's how I write. Very, very iterative. You know, I'm always like back. You know, if I take a break for a while, I go back a chapter. If I haven't been away for a very long time, I go back a scene. But I'm always going back before I write forward, back before I write forward, back before I write forward. And it is, everything that they say is true. It slows you down. It's a waste of time, because at some point you have to face the music and go, well, guess what? That whole chapter doesn't need to be in here. And then all that polishing is like just gone. But I can't do it any other way. That's just how I write. So do not do as I do as I say.
Who else? We probably have time for one or two, depending on the answer length. Any other hands? Nothing else you guys want to know? Okay, Robin, what you got?
I have a quick question for Shirin. Shirin, do you think you'll ever illustrate?
At one point, I've illustrated like covers. I did the covers for the goddesses. Before that, I'd done illustration in advertising, which is like usually a single, well, the biggest thing I've ever done is like a brochure with lots of little spot illustrations and then a cover. And so at one point I thought that, yes, one day I would love to illustrate, but
I bet your nieces and nephews want you to do one
no,
day.
you know, because what I know now is that I think I'm a decent painter, but I don't think I'm a good illustrator. I think that what the last 20 years has taught me is that illustration, there's so much more to it than it's not just about drawing a pretty picture. It's like there's so much more to good illustration, and I don't have those skills. So, you know, rather than do a mediocre illustration, I'll do a good edit. But thanks for asking, Robin.
Anyone else? Susan, you have another one?
Hi, it's Katie. I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you. It was very interesting. I was late coming in. I'm sorry, so I didn't hear the beginning of it. But this has been fascinating. I'm a self-published author, and I really appreciated Shirin's comments about the networking. She's a friend and has been very helpful to me, and great networker in many ways, even though I'm self-published. So anyway, I appreciate the conversation this evening, and I can't wait to read the books. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Susan?
Yeah, so not easy, but can you pick a favorite child, a favorite book, and why? Or is it just your latest one, the one that sells the best?
Oh my goodness. Sharon, you go first.
I'll go first because it's easiest for me. Like the moment my novel gets published, it will be my novel. Until that day, it's Ruby's Wish. And so, if any of you know the book, it's the story of my grandmother. So it has very personal, very personal roots. I mean, it was my debut. It did better than everything else. So it's always easy to love the child that performs. But at the heart of it, it's like it has sentimental value for me, and it also has great sentimental value in terms of when it was written and how it was written, because it was written when I wasn't really thinking about it. You know, it was written when I was just writing a story, and then it was some of the most pure writing I've done, because everything subsequent to that was written with an eye to publication, except for my short stories, which remain still something that I do on the side. But all the children's books since then have been written with an eye to publication, and it was just really nice to be in a time in my life when I was just writing to write. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like such a luxury now just to write to write.
For me, I would say Cloth Lullaby was my easy child. That book was in my mind for a long time, but when I sat down to write it, it only took about a week, and it just flowed, and I didn't change much to it, and that was super rare. But I think the book that's closest to me right now is Girl on a Motorcycle. It feels the most personal to me, even though it's about another person. There are a lot of moments that I could relate to in this story, and I think I put a lot of my self into the book, just in terms of how I view the world, and so yeah, it was a hard book to write. Not so much the story itself, but physically, the year I was writing it, it was just really hard to sit down and do the work. But I feel good about it, and it yeah, if I never publish another book, I'll be happy with this one. I feel like if this is my last one, it's a good one to go out on.
But it had that rare sparkly feeling.
It has a rare sparkly feeling, yes.
Well, that's a good segue to my final question. What is next on the shelves for you guys, if you know? Shirin, I know you've got something else coming, yeah?
I have a novel that's on submission to agents right now that my fingers are crossed for. A lot of me went into that book, and I love it deeply. But on the children's book front, I am working on 2 more books with Amy. So we have Get Up Elizabeth, and then we also have Go to Bed Ted, which is Teddy Roosevelt. And we haven't quite got the title yet, but in general gist, it's going to be like Finish Your Food, Julius, or something, making use of all the wonderful, horrible, ewy things that the Romans used to eat. So I'm working on those, and those are about the only children's projects that I have on my slate right And I'm working on writing the second novel too.
Wow.
Amy, anything coming, or are you looking for the next person to share with the world?
Well, I do. I just saw the layouts yesterday for a book that's coming out with the Museum of Modern Art in the spring. And I co-wrote the book, so it's not my story. They reached out to me to co-write a story with a fine artist named Shazia Sikander. So it's a story about her life. She's a contemporary artist. And it was a really fun project. I mean, you know, they had me at MoMA. I was just like, yes, whatever you want, I will do it. So fun project and coming out in the spring, and yeah, it should be a beautiful book. So, and it's called Roots and Wings.
Cool, more things to look forward to. Thank you, all of our guests, and to both Shirin and Amy, thank you so much for sharing your experience and your relationships and how this has all come together. I think it's pretty special to have, you know, author editors to be able to talk about both sides of this. And I'm sure all of you will want some copies of their new books. You can all go to booksinc, BOOKSINC.net, and you can search for their books, and you can even get them personalized. We'll be doing a lot of collecting of information and delivering books, and they're going to sign stuff for you guys. So just, you can make notes in the comments section if you want them actually personalized and signed by Shirin and Amy. Thank you both so much. This was lovely. I loved being a part of this.
Thank you, Summer. Thank you so much for co-hosting.